Today is the day that we put the new roof rack on the 4Runner. And for the rack, I decided on the Eezi Awn K9 rack. Okay, I think I'm actually gonna work on the 4Runner out here because this is in the shade and that isn't. But also what I think we're gonna do is give the roof a little cleaning and a waxing, because I don't know when the next time I'll be able to actually wax this thing is. Yeah, that turned out pretty nice. So I think what we'll do now is just get this old roof rack completely off and then take a look at the new one. By the way, I've really been enjoying this tool. This thing is awesome. Right, now I got the roof rack off. I went ahead and cleaned these pockets out real well where our new roof rack's gonna mount. Made it nice and dry and just made sure there's no dirt or nothing in there. They're nice and clean. All the way around, 4 spots here, there, you know, average spot. So now let's go and take a look at the new mounting hardware and see what we gotta do. Looks like this is what we get for mounting hardware of the rail. We get these little spacers and then these bolts. All right, next step is to get some of the mounting hardware in here, but we need to seal this up. So I'm going to use this stuff, this Ultimate MP. Honestly, it's by Type Bond, and it was just the best stuff that I could find locally that I have. I don't have a whole lot of access to stuff, but it's pure silicone. It doesn't have any negative stuff in it. I guess there could be some issue with putting some of the standard silicone you get at like Home Depot for kitchen and bath and stuff. There could be some issue with putting that in here and rust is what I've read online. So I try to pick something that doesn't have any negative reaction with metal, and this stuff is specifically designed to seal metal roofing and metal pieces together. So this is what I'm gonna go with, and hopefully we don't have any issues. And I think it's pretty nice. It's not supposed to crack, and it's supposed to be completely flexible. So I think that's good for mounting a roof rack down. I'm going to do a few extra things to give myself a good chance here. One, I'm going to red Loctite these bolts. The factory had that when I pulled the bolts out, so we're going to do it that way too. I figure it's just going to be good practice. Yeah, I can get my thing unclogged. I fear the Loctite won't just keep it from rattling. It'll actually help seal the threads in there. All right, next what we're gonna do is take all these feet apart. This is how they come. I already took that one apart just to test it on the rack. But these are pretty nice. I went with the low profile version. There's a 45 millimeter and a 60 something millimeter. Difference is about 1 inch. So, whoop. This is how it comes. Just like that. So we're going to take this bottom piece off, put it on the actual rack, get them spread apart pretty evenly, and then we're going to take this piece and put this piece on the rack itself. So we get 5 of these per side. You can already see I have one on. So the way these work is they just kind of slide through the rail like so. Now before we go any further, we got to put the feet in the rack. And yes, there's a giant hole in the box, but I already inspected it and it looks like we're okay. Whew. I just found out a trick. You don't have to take these apart. If you just get the bolt head lined up right and pivot it to the side, these will just pop in, just like that. Saves you a bit of time instead of taking everything apart like I was doing. Alright, here it is all finished. I think the rack looks very, very good. I actually had to stay up a little late last night to try to get this done and just finish the adjustments. There is a unique adjustment on this rack where you put tension excuse me, you put tension on the rack and that forces this top rail down onto the roof. Makes everything tight and snug. And it is really on there. Like really on there. There is zero movement in the whole rack. It's really nice. It looks very good, I think. I think it's not just about the looks, but it's important too, right? So it does look nice. Functionality though, this rack over the crossbars that we had, there's no comparison. We're real excited for it. I did take it for a quick drive last night. It was windy, so there was a bit more noise than normal, but when I turned around and went with the wind, the rack was pretty silent. I couldn't really tell a whole lot of difference, so pretty happy with that. And I'm kind of just happy with the rack in general. So a few things before we wrap up here. One, we chose this rack because I really liked the look of it. I'm really into the nostalgia Toyota look right now, and that just screams Expedition to me, old school Expedition, like camel trophy style, and I just really like it. I think it looks really cool, and I think it looks classic. Does it look new aged? Not really, but it still looks good, and it doesn't look old. The other thing that I like about the rack and why we chose it is I was worried about wind noise. I believe your vehicle should be as streetable as possible, and being an overland, I mean, that's what you do most of the time, right? You're driving from street to get to trails, right? And while you do off-road these rigs, sometimes a lot of off-roading, you're not primarily doing off-roads. So you're probably more, realistically, you're probably more 70-30 if you're doing it a lot. And because of that, you really need to figure out for your rig, what are you planning to do with it? Being 70% street is important because that's a lot of time on the road. And so you don't want to compromise that. So everything is a give and take, but I wanted to keep the vehicle quiet with the rack that we chose for not only day to day, but when we go on long trips. I want to make sure that we have that rig quiet, and it's nice. I think certain designs of the rack lay into that because the bars run mainly with the vehicle. There's like less mass there for the wind to hit against, less faces. I think that's part of it. I like the way gear mounts to the rack specifically. I know there are other racks out there that have maybe more accessories, but I'm not really concerned about the accessories personally. I can make my own gear for this stuff. So I just need the rack. I need the ability to mount it. Everything else I can build myself. And I'm more interested in doing that because mounts are cheap and easy to build than buying a bunch of accessories that I may or may not use. And it's not like I'm buying a ton of accessories and removing and adding stuff all the time. The way I look at it, once you have your rack the way you're going to use it, set up the way you're going to use it, you're probably not going to change that often. You're not going to be like adding accessories and removing accessories daily. So I just don't see the whole fuss with having tons of accessories available. I think having a universal platform where you can make your own stuff, or I guess maybe the ability to buy a few things that you need is nice, but mainly having more of an open platform where the mount for like a Rotopax will work. You just have to maybe tweak the mount on the Rotopack a little bit, and it will work with the rack. So just things like that. And I don't know. I mean, I didn't want to drill through my roof, so there's that. I didn't want anything that touched the paint, as we talked about, but I wanted it as low as I could get. And this is it. Let me show you one more thing. So let me preface this before I show you this. I think sometimes we make new products that look cool, but while they look cool, they're missing out on some of the features that were built into an older item for a specific reason. So like newer racks, right? I know newer racks are lower profile. That's nice, right? You get it lower to the roof, easier to get in your garage, all that good stuff, right? Maybe easier to get stuff up there a little bit. But then what you forget is you bring this rack and you put a flat rail all the way across the edge of the roof, and now you can't get your hand in here to modify anything or to bolt things down from underneath. Okay, well, you got a flat platform on top, so all your bolts going through the top. Well, what if you have something like a tent where you have to come underneath and bolt through? It becomes a little bit more difficult, and now you can't modify your roof rack as easily, maybe. That was my experience with the LFD crossbars, and I just knew having a flat piece all the way across that did not have access holes on the side that I could get into and adjust the mounting of anything was not going to work for me. Also, I noticed that a lot of these racks don't hang over the sides of the vehicle very much anymore. And I kind of think that's a problem. See, when you have a rack that sits proud of the roof rack just slightly, I mean, it's not hanging over the body of the car by any means, but it is proud of the actual roof line. When you do that, now mounting your accessories like your awnings or whatever else you got to hang off the side now actually have more strength and structure built into them, and now you don't have to do so much work trying to pull it away from the body and getting it where it needs to be. You're already a good distance away from the roof line, less likely to hit things, which means you can bring those awnings down a little bit, make it easier to get to, right? So that's just a few of the reasons why we bought the rack. I think there's a lot more going into this Eezi Awn rack and racks like it that a lot of us are willing to believe. Does it look as cool as the racks that come with like a wind fairing that you can put a 40-inch light bar into it? Maybe not. To me, I think so. But if you're on the fence, maybe those other ones look cooler. Could you put a light bar on here? Absolutely. There's more than enough room in here to put a light bar in. In fact, I might do that. I have one off of an old project, and I might see if I can fit one in there and see if it works. And that might be kind of cool. I haven't decided yet. There's a lot you can do with these racks, and I just think there's so much functionality built into them that we've forgotten about in favor of new and cool. Sometimes the old look is timeless for a reason and looks cool for a reason, and I really, really like this rack. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Hit the comments below and let me know what you think. We are by no means done with this vehicle. We have a lot more to come. And now that we have this rack, we have exciting trips coming up very shortly. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, hope to see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. And, well, hopefully you get out there and enjoy yourself.